Okay, hello. Welcome to the Powerful Bio and BREAKOUT joint breakout group at the Global Bioeconomy Summit. We were actually a bit wrong with our name. We were just announced as Bioeconomy at local level, but yeah, we're of course, as most of you know, operating at regional level. So please, yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, let's wait a second for some more people to join. Well, just some basic information about that breakout group session. We are doing this interactive, but based on Mentimeter, as we were expecting quite a lot of people. So it's a bit hard to facilitate this with a lot of people speaking. So please, I would ask you to keep your microphones muted. For the entire workshop, only the speakers from Be Rural and Powerful Bio, please speak. So I will start with a short presentation of both projects. So if you hear some noise and someone singing, this is my neighbor. He just started having a party himself, and I hope you will not be disturbed too much by him. Yeah. Okay, so I guess you can see that presentation now. So again, welcome to our breakout group about bioeconomy at regional level. Yeah, both projects, Powerful Bio and Be Rural, are organizing this session, and we are both funded under the same call. Under the Rural Renaissance, and we're Horizon 2020 Communication Support Actions. And yeah, Powerful Bio started a little bit earlier. It was October 2018, whereas Be Rural launched in April 2019. And yeah, as we were funded under the same call, we were called sister projects. And yeah, we already started cooperating quite a lot together. So this is just another cooperation that we had. And yeah, the joint aims of both projects are a proactive stakeholder engagement, interregional networking, and the cross-border exchange of knowledge. And yeah, together, well, not together, Be Rural and Powerful Bio, but yeah, both of the projects are facilitating the development of regional bioeconomy strategies and roadmaps. And yeah, we're operating in different regions. So the green regions you can see on this map are the Powerful Bio regions. It's 10 regions altogether. And the blue regions are the Be Rural regions, which are 2, 4, 6, 7 regions. Or 6. Okay, and yeah, so we are not operating in the same regions, but in adjacent regions. So the outcomes of the one project might be of relevance for the others. And yeah, we have already created a joint guidance document where we give more information upon that, and I will later share the link to that document in the chat. And now I want to give the word to the colleagues from Be Rural, my colleague Saritza Kirisieva and Holger Gerres will present Be Rural. And Saritza and Holger are both coordinators of Be Rural and are working at the Ecological Institute in Berlin. So please go ahead.
Thanks, Christine. Hello, everyone. Hello from Berlin. It's quite dark outside already. So I'll continue where Christina just stopped with our regions. So we are working in five modest or moderate innovative countries and cover the following regions. Starting from North Europe, we have the Zemun-Polzeme region in Latvia, the Szczecin and Vistula lagoons in Poland, the Covasna County in Romania, Stara Zagora in Bulgaria, and Strumica in North Macedonia. We have very diverse regions, also cover different biomass streams, such as agricultural residues, wood-based biomass, plant matter, low value fish species. So could you move to the next slide? Yeah. All our activities in BioEconomy are guided by the following key principles of participatory bioeconomy development. So we want to create, to provide co-creation spaces for a broad spectrum of stakeholders and citizens in the development of these bioeconomy strategies and roadmaps. And we believe that by doing so, we could also contribute to broader societal goals that could be later embedded in the strategies and the roadmaps, and could, of course, also contribute to create more awareness and more acceptance of the bioeconomy concept. The second principle is the principle of openness and inclusiveness. We want to work with stakeholders beyond the so-called triple helix, where business, academia, and government work together, and to involve civil society organizations. The principle of sustainability is also very important to us. We design bioeconomy strategy and roadmaps that promotes the sustainable use of agriculture, forest, and marine ecosystems. And we also want to address trade-offs in those strategies. And finally, last but not least, is the principle of transparency. We document all our participatory activities. You can find the minutes of all events that have taken place so far on our website, and we allow our stakeholders to enter the strategy development and the roadmap development process at any stage. So you can see this reflected on the graph on the right side. We have the main stakeholder groups working together and generating knowledge and innovation, and all this in the frame of the natural and managed ecosystems. And this is what we call also open innovation platforms. Now you can move to the next slide. So this is very short our implementation process. The first step was to the analytical work to provide information about the available biomass, the technologies and the policy frameworks in the regions we are working in, and also to map relevant stakeholders. And in parallel to the analytical work, we also started the stakeholder process, established stakeholder working groups, and organized and are still organizing a number of different events. And we just started also with the business model development, and we'll continue with the strategy and roadmap development. And the aim of this work is also to come up with lessons learned, but also with policy recommendations for the development of regional bioeconomy strategies and roadmap, not only in the regions we're working in, but also beyond. And my last slide. Here you can just see the different participatory activities we are organizing. This is also, you can visit our website, click on the events, and then you will find more information about it. In general, visit our website, get in touch with us, follow us on Twitter, or sign up for our newsletter to find out more about our activities. So this was BRURAL, not Bioeconomy Rural, BRURAL in a nutshell. And now I'm handing over to Laura, who will present Powerful Bio. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Sarita. I hope everybody can hear me well.
Yeah.
Perfect. Then we want to present also in a nutshell and very quickly Powerful Bio. As Christine, my colleague, already mentioned, Powerful Bio is working with 10 regions. Mainly, as you can see in the map, we have divided the cooperations and the interlinks within these regions within 5 Central and East European regions and 5 Western, but also Mediterranean regions, from where, as you can see, we have 11 Italian regions that are all clustered within the cluster Spring. And there are 3 regions that are clustered within the central Germany, which is Saxony-Anhalt, Saxony-Thuringia, and all of these 10 regions are part of Power Bio. We can pass. As you already hear, our project is about to finish next year, so we are on the final months, only 4 months to go, and we wanted to tell you a little about already what we have as outputs of our project. So within the preparation of a methodology for regional bioeconomy strategies, the project has created within many different things, regional bioeconomy hubs Those were mainly created within the Central and East European region. And we have had rich activities of exchange. So, for example, the 10 cross visits and training programs, but also cross-regional cooperation interactions that have resulted in very interesting specific cooperations within the 10 regions of Power Bio. Another of the key results that it's open for council as well is the catalog of mature technologies, which just deploy specific solutions, technological solutions that you can consult for different type of feedstock. And yeah, KPIs, a list of KPIs that are possible to evaluate regional bioeconomy. Continue. Another of the solutions already at hand are, for example, suitable policies for the bio-based economy and to deploy bio-based business cases. To that, we have cooperated also with BREAKOUT into presenting regional bio-based business models. And we have also generated a tool of inventory to analyze regional bioeconomy. That means we have analyzed different type of tools at hand from previous projects, and we have analyzed which one are the most suitable for the regions that are working with us, but also for other regions that would like to use it as well. In general, and just as a big summary, many of these outputs and activities that have been carried out in Bio are going to be available in our final toolkit, the Bioregional Strategy Accelerator, which is going to be ready by March next year. And it is intended as the final repository of all the methodology for regional bioeconomy strategies, but also for all the tools created during the length of Bio. And to be used by European and other international regions which have the intention to generate the regional bioeconomy strategies. Finally, on the next slide, I just want to point out the coordinators of these two projects, Holger Gerdes for BREAKOUT and Ignacio Martin from Bio. The contacts are there, and also invite you kindly to visit our both projects. Now.
Thank you, Laura, for presenting. So I stop sharing the screen. Yeah, Laura Garcia is a work package leader in Bio, and yeah, she's working at DBFZ in Leipzig. And yeah, Laura will now prepare the Mentimeter slides. So yeah, please go to menti.com. I also put in the information to the chat and enter number 5649523. So I think we're all kind of digital half natives, so we should be there. So next slide, please. Laura, could you please? Okay, thank you. Yeah, and of course, just as in the workshop before, we want to know our audience a little bit better. And next slide, please. So let us know, as you let the EC know before, which country are you from? Okay, I see we're having a lot of Germans, but yeah, also United States and Mexico, so this is great, not just being that European. But still, Germans are the majority here. Okay, so thank you for giving us this insight. So next slide, please. And yeah, we also want to know which type of organization you are active. Okay, again, most are from academia, and also we have very strong research and development institutes, some SMEs, and yeah, 2 from government bodies and 1 other. Okay, so next slide, please. And yes, as Powerful Bio and Be Rural are dealing with bioeconomy strategies, we're of course very interested if you have been in contact with bioeconomy strategies before. And just as expected, we're having a lot of yeses, but also some no's, but this of course is no problem at all. Okay, yeah, so we're not that unadvanced in that question. So next slide, please. Yeah, and if you have been in contact with bioeconomy strategies, at which level? So international level or national level, regional level or local level? And yeah, for Be Rural and Powerful Bio, we're actually operating on the regional level. Wow, I've never seen all these dots coming to the point. So yeah, it's quite even between regional level and national level. Oh, now, okay, still some dots flying in. Yeah, but we're quite even with national and regional level and not that much experience with the local level. Okay, so next slide, please. And at this point, this was just an introduction to get to know our audience. At this point, I want to give the word to our colleague, Martin van den Hoeven. And he's work package leader in Powerful Bio, and he is active at Wageningen Research in the Netherlands. Go ahead, Martin.
Hello, good afternoon. I'd like to ask you a few questions, also via Mentimeter. The questions are about how can bioeconomy contribute to really come to climate action initiatives, among which an important driver there is the European Green Deal. Maybe we can focus on that by looking at the next slide. Yes, thank you. There are 2 more bullets. Yes, thank you. So it's about reducing greenhouse gas emissions by, to 0 by 2050. Also, economic growth is an important aspect, but without feedstock depletion. So that's about circularity. And circularity means, I kind of, we all know what is greenhouse gas emission reduction relating to getting rid of usage of fossil oil, coal, gas. Circularity relates to using materials multiple times. For instance, when we have wood, we can make a bar out of it, beams, and then we can make a particle board out of it, and then we can incinerate for power production. So we should not directly go for power production, but have these subsequent applications. The same could hold for instance, packaging plastic. Mostly now we incinerate that, likely with some power production, but it would be nice if we can reuse the plastic before we finally incinerate. So, and then let's go to the questions. So can we go to the next slide, please? So as a short introduction to the first question, production of power and heat for industry and households contributes as one of the largest contributions of the human share to greenhouse gas emissions. And then please provide your answers to the next question, which is which specific bioenergy transition approach leads to the biggest reduction in greenhouse gas emissions in the next decade. So ultimately 2050, but let's first focus on the next decade. So you're invited to provide your answers via Mentimeter. You have got 250 characters. That's not very much. I apologize. But please let us know your ideas and thoughts. This may be technical. This may include, I see wind and solar, so it's about bioenergy, but please do not exclude wind power and solar power. You may also think about topics, technical solutions, but also topics which, in your opinion, should be, for instance, fostered in bioeconomy roadmaps. The answers are coming in. That's very nice to see. Green energy at level of households, that's indeed very local. So that's, I would say it cannot be more local. That would be a very nice idea indeed. If we could develop that. That would mean basically zero transportation. It's going very well. I cannot even read the top answers anymore. I see you can scroll.
Exactly. I'm going to be scrolling as the questions are coming down.
Yeah,
and you
very
just
good.
let me know.
Yes, thank you. Very good. I see it's also well, production of energy from residues. That's that sounds logical, and you confirm this. Transformation of fossil CO2 into new products. Very good. I suggest we take, well, a small 1 minute and then go to the next question. So please enter your last suggestions. So will this, when we go to the next question, Laura, will then the possibility to answer, will that be quit or stopped?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then a few more seconds.
I would suggest to go to the next slide because we're still having some questions ahead.
Yeah. So let's go to the next question with an introductory sentence. Today, large part of the recollected post-consumer plastic packaging is incinerated to recover energy. Unfortunately, we also throw it away, but let's assume we deposit it at the correct place, but even then it's incinerated. And then please have a look at the question, which is, which hurdles prevent improvement of recycling numbers of this plastic packaging into new high quality products? And additional to that, what could be done to overcome the hurdle? Please, again, provide your ideas, your suggestions. And again, also here, it can be technical solutions. Also, it can be a chain approach. A problem for one party can be a solution for another party. If we are thinking about it's difficult to recycle, we have to think about what can we do at the design stage. So this really requires a full chain approach, probably. Very nice. Also here you can think about technical solutions, but also policies. What should be in strategies and roadmaps in order to, well, stop hurdles, go around hurdles, skip hurdles. And maybe also you can think about the level at which hurdles occur and solutions could be there. For instance, should it be a local approach or a regional approach or a national or EU or say continent approach? Yeah, too complex compositions which make recycling feasible. Should we, for instance, store the plastic and wait till we have developed new technologies which do allow recycling of complex materials? I suggest we have 1 more minute to complete your ideas. Ideas are still coming in. Very nice to see. Single use, of course. Yeah. Okay. I guess we have completed more or less. Then can we go to the next question, Laura? Thank you. The introductory sentence. When we want to replace fossil feedstock by bio-based feedstock, we will need more bio-based material that will increase pressure to increase the amount of biomass we collect from the land. But also that means, well, the risk of soil depletion. So we would like to keep that healthy. So the question is, how can we bring the required nutrients back to the soil in a circular way? And we used to do this, of course, by bringing manure back to the land. But we have local, I don't say whether I can say overproduction, but concentrated production. So we have manure problems in one area and maybe lack of nutrients at another area, but also manure has a fixed composition, and maybe we are short of one component and have excess of the other component. So that could be issues. So please provide your, there they are coming, your suggestions, technical solutions, change solutions, policy recommendations to get this done. how to get which things to get in roadmaps, separation technology. Yeah, another topic related, lowering the CO2 emission from soil. That's a very nice idea too. Leave residues in the fields. And what if not? If we would like to collect the straw, how can we bring back at the end of a life cycle nutrients? That can include carbon or nitrogen or all these components. It looks like this is a more difficult topic, but not less relevant. Yeah, leaving behind material on the land. I suggest we take 1 more minute and then go to the next topic. Okay, it looks like we have collected your ideas. Thank you. So please to the next topic. Yeah, that's
Thanks,
all,
Mike.
I guess.
I'm taking
So
it from here. So the next question we want to discuss with you is how to address conflicting sustainability objectives. Think about environmental, social, and economic trade-offs in the development of a bioeconomy strategy with the focus on regional bioeconomy strategies. So I know this is a huge question, but we divided it into sub-questions. And maybe just to give you a little bit of a context, what we mean by the main question. So that we did a lot of research, analyzing and looking at different bioeconomy strategies around the world. And what we find out that conflicting objectives, they are in some very, very few cases addressed, but even addressed or outlined, there are no concrete actions how to deal with them. These actions are widely missing. And to give a few examples, for example, economic growth, competitiveness, also increase of the production of bio-based products or increase of the production in agriculture, fishery, or forestry is often outlined as a main goal of the bioeconomy strategy. And this would require increased demand on biomass. And if we think about it, we can't really replace all fossil-based resources with biological raw materials in the same proportion. If we do this, we will overuse for sure the ecosystems. And another example is that it is difficult to reconcile the demand for increased biomass cultivation with the demand for more sustainable agriculture, organic farming, or agroecological approaches. So I saw that you just started, but I wanted, yeah. Then the question we want to discuss now with you, the first sub-question, is which of the adverse impacts that the bioeconomy may have on society and environment need to be prioritized in a regional bioeconomy strategy? If you want to step in.
Yeah, please think about regional and local strategies. We analyzed mainly national strategies, and as Lorenza said, we barely found any evidence of national bioeconomic strategies where these trade-offs are actually tackled. So which ones would you prioritize? We listed 6 issues of which we think they are most important. If you think we are missing one, please select other and let us know via the chat box which issue you think that keeps popping up when you are thinking about the development of the bioeconomy and about potential negative impacts. Which one should still be mentioned here?
Holger and Saritza, there is a question from Bernhard in the chat. Can you please elaborate on the distributional effects? What do you mean by that? Could you please go to that?
Yeah, several dimensions, but one important one is certainly if you think about the development of bio-based value chains at local and regional level, how can we make sure that potential additional income is actually distributed across the region and not only to certain actors that are in the center of that value chain. Another aspect of that is if you think about competing demands for a certain biomass resource. So you get an additional demand from a new innovative bio-based product or process, then other actors might actually lose or get into trouble because they cannot afford to actually have that product in their value chain anymore because the price is increasing. These are the kind of distributional effects we were thinking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like we got a result here.
I must admit, I'm a bit surprised that changing commodity prices are the second.
Indeed. Yeah, so that I would argue could be the most relevant aspect from a business perspective. And as I just said, the ones who are just now relying on certain biomass resources for a certain price might get into trouble if additional demands trigger in. So I think that's the reason here. Otherwise, yeah, negative impacts on biodiversity and ecosystems, certainly one of the key issues that we are also looking into. Land use impacts play into that as well. And okay, very nice. Thank you very much for this ranking. We will work with it. And now come to the next question. So we have now seen a couple of issues here that you might want to discuss under the heading of trade-offs. So we want to develop the bioeconomy, but we need more land, more biomass, and that might lead to certain economic, social, or environmental trade-offs. Are you aware of any good practice examples, for instance, strategy or roadmap documents, be it at national or regional level, where these issues, where these 8 trade-offs have been effectively addressed? Do you know any such bioeconomy strategies? Please let us know. If you are not aware of any, because there are no such good practice examples around, which is very well possible, please also let us know how you think these trade-offs should be addressed and what, in your view, would be effective approaches to address those trade-offs.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. The concept is called sufficiency. What we find out also in the analysis of the bioeconomy strategy is that the food security is one of the main, also one of the main goals of the strategies, but food security, the narrative is very much focused on increasing food production, but there are quite a lot of other social innovation, promoting sustainable consumption, reduction of food waste, or strengthening regional producers that could be done in this respect.
Latvia is the case. Okay. Yeah, right. The Latvian strategy could indeed be a good practice example. Yeah. Okay. Case from the Netherlands.
Okay, is this for Netherlands a national strategy? They have a biomass strategy. I can't read this sufficiency. Sufficiency is addressed in the Austrian bioeconomy strategy. Yes, yes. I also think that this is now addressed in the updated national bioeconomy strategy of Germany.
Yeah, I think it's a very popular concept here in Germany. I wonder whether it's actually as popular on the European level. If not, I think that could be something that we as a community bring forward also at the European level.
Okay. How I can
Okay.
see our answers and how to notice. There is a question here. Can we have the link for the Netherlands sustainability rules for the use of biomass, please? Shall we open the mic? Is it possible? Or could you write down the answer in the chat box?
Yeah.
For the one, yeah.
Provide the source. Okay, we got 10 responses. I think we have to move on to the next question. Okay, so I mean, as you will know, that behind those trade-offs, there are usually certain interests and influences coming either from the economic, from the social, or environmental spheres. The most common example is, of course, from one side, the demand for more biomass production, more expansion of agricultural production. On the other hand, you have demands from environmental NGOs to protect nature and the environment. So, how do you think we can bring these actors on a common pathway? Because as far as we analyze the discourse in Europe, it seems that these three dimensions are really engaged in their own discourses and trying to shape the bioeconomy along their lines. And what do you think are possible approaches to bring them together and to ensure that at some point we'll be in the same discourse and bring the bioeconomy forward based on shared principles? Any ideas on that? We would be absolutely grateful for receiving input here.
Well, I read here broad inclusion of regional and local actors from the beginning of the strategy process. This is, as I said at the beginning, this is what we're trying to do also in BRURAL. We'll let you know how this works in the end of the project when we produce our lessons learned, but I think that this is the right way. Dialogue, dialogue, dialogue. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you have there?
Okay.
More top-down, do you see that correctly?
Yeah.
More top-down, okay, that really contradicts the other statements here.
Maybe you could elaborate a bit on this in the chat box.
Yeah.
Prioritization.
Yeah. Consulting all stakeholders, indeed.
That's true, but you see that here, the participants, we had like only one representative from the civil society. And this is often the case. It's really difficult to involve them in the process. Stakeholder involvement from the beginning, this is very, very important. We had the case here in Germany that the German bioeconomy strategy was sent for feedback once it has been already developed, and NGOs are wishing to be involved in an early stage, and this would really make sense if all stakeholders are involved at the very beginning and not later on, just providing feedback. figure it out. I don't know. I think that we are running short on time.
Thanks a lot. That was our session. We'll have a third one. So Laura, please move on.
Yes, so we are tackling the last big guidance questions for this breakout session today. And I want to give the word to our colleague, Dries Maas from Powerful Bio. He is a regional partner for Flanders, and he's working at the Flanders regional government. Dries, please go ahead.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thanks, Christina, for introducing. So yeah, we had the trade-offs. We had already discussed the environmental impacts of a regional bioeconomy strategy, but now the question also on the economical or the part of the development. So yeah, can I have the next slide, please? So there are very many ways to develop a regional bioeconomy as fast as possible or as strong as possible. And one of the pathways is to attract international partners to your region because they can provide a lot of benefits that maybe some local partners cannot. But then the question is, how is it most optimal? What are actually the best ways a regional bioeconomy strategy might the best way to attract international partners to your region? Is it giving them official government support? Is it giving them a platform that gives international access? Is it by making direct links with local research institutes that can give new technological innovation? So if you have a world-class technological research institute, is that the best way to get international partners also present? Or if you give better options for local project financing, another option is to have already platforms of local partners, or maybe specifically cooperatives ready for biomass provision. So if you have international technology partners who can do biomass transformation, then they can already connect directly with an available cooperative. So please have a look at the different benefits that a region could offer, could develop in a local or regional strategy in the hope of attracting international partners. Which ones do you think are the most important to look at, to work with?
Well,
I see a lot of people are working on the Menti.
Yeah, I think we have problem with Mentimeter showing results. A lot of people voted, but nothing's happening in the presentation.
I was able to submit my answers. It worked.
You were not.
I have just tested. I've been submitting my answers, but they are not showing. Just like I will check in 1 second.
Maybe refresh. It's a way of keeping the suspense going. That's nice. Oh yeah, that's a little bit small, but there are answers. Yes. Oh, that is surprising. Most people say official governmental support, so direct support. No in-betweens. And then local cooperatives for biomass provision. So direct support and show that the organic resources or the biomass resources are available and that there are actors on the ground to make them available throughout the year. That is quite direct, actually. It's very good to know. In our case, we also had a lot of discussions on skilled labor forces and trained personnel, but that does not seem to be a priority of the first priority. But indeed, this can be very different from region to region. Okay, thank you. I think we have to watch the time. Could you go to the next slide? Right, so if we are talking about, on one hand, the international partners, you can also look at developing the business locally or developing a regional bioeconomy based on on local actors. It reflects the introduction that was given by the region Grand Est en France, where they really said, look, we are going to have a contract for local biomass provision and local embedment of each bioplant in our region. And so there the vision is to have a fully locally founded bioregion. And then is the question, where do you focus on if you want to have these local clusters to develop, these local new value chains? How do they fit together, and how do you make them fit together as best as possible? Yes, can you switch the slide, please? Thank you. Again, these are the same options, but the question is here, if you look at it locally, do you have different priorities? So is it also direct, the last, if we talked about international actors, we had case 1 and 2 was official government support and official project financing opportunities. But is it the same if you're talking about local companies? Is it the same if you're talking about local clusters? Or do you have to work with different initiatives, and do you also have to take soft measures such as supporting local research and working on yes, indeed, then access to international markets becomes interesting. Oh, it's falling down again. It looked good at first. And then platforms for collaboration seems to be a good idea. It is interesting to see it. I expected it to be a little bit different as from international partners, but indeed it is. There are some differences showing, but at the moment they move too much to take any conclusions. I'll just wait for a few more answers to pop in. Thank you. Platforms is solidly on first. So that remains, rather than working only on financing, you have to work on collaboration if you want to develop a local cluster. And so that is a very big difference with international big partners. And here the skilled and trained personnel becomes much more important as well. This is very interesting. Okay, last question, please. So yeah, as we are talking about education, there are many topics you can give education or focus education on for bioeconomy. Which ones are, according to you, the priority ones? Please don't check all of them, only a few. Which are the scientific divisions or the educational pathways that you would prioritize to develop a local and a regional bioeconomy? Still moving, but I see there's no interest in marine and freshwater aquaculture. I have to say it is less important as well as in Flanders, because we don't have a large sea or coastline. But oh yeah, I should not influence the voting, I guess. A very strong support for sustainability and biodiversity knowledge to from all participants. That shows again that any bioeconomy policy should at least be holistic and not take only the technical expertise into account, but also the full environmental and social aspects. And it should also be this knowledge should be spread across the working people who are working in the field. For the rest, agriculture, of course, and the rest is quite evenly spread. Very interesting. I think we have a message that we should close down. So I think we have to finalize this survey and go to the closure of this breakout session. Okay. Thanks a lot for your input, at least. Christine, did you still want to say something?
Yes. Oh, sorry. I muted myself again. Yeah. Thank you for participation. And yeah, we are having a short wrap up from our colleague from BREAKOUT, from Elsa Joao. She's from the University of Strathclyde, Scotland, and she's in charge of educational events in BREAKOUT. So, Laura, could you please stop sharing the screen? And Elsa, if you want to share a screen, do so, or just talk to us as you like.
Yeah, I'm just going to talk. So so this is a very brief wrap up, and we discussed quite a lot of things. So as you've just heard, this has been a collaborative workshop with Power of Bio and BREAKOUT, a sister project. I like that idea of as we are sisters. And interesting, both projects are about engagement, and this workshop, which was very much an engaged with our audience workshop, reflects our ethos in a way, and because we all come with our own expertise. The best thing is to look at the amazing resources that each project has on the website, so go and check the website. So we discussed quite a lot of things, and we were initially with 30 participants, but not everybody participated on a Menti, and we sort of from different parts of the world. We mainly academia and research, but I think what's interesting in here sometimes is what's missing. And I don't know if this is a reflection of the summit overall or just our workshop, but one thing that is definitely missing is industry. So we don't have people that are participating from industry, at least in our workshop. So this is something that I think we need to engage. So sometimes what's not there is as interesting as what's there. So majority of people are already involved with the bioeconomy and more involved at the national and regional level, not enough people with the local. And again, how do we engage with the local level? So then, I mean, it's so many ideas that the open questions of all the different ideas people brought in are really interesting, and hopefully we'll be capturing all of those and sharing them as a summary, because I think there was a lot of information that was relevant, a lot about talking about biogas from food waste and capturing CO2 and different ideas coming in terms of the bioenergy transition. In terms of hurdles, interesting, so labeling, you know, it's quite interesting that you think, you know, bioeconomy, and then something as simple as can we have better labels to improve recycling, and what can we do about it? It's not just technology, it's, you know, can we actually label things properly? And the complexity of materials in terms of different plastics, etc. So, you know, again, I can't repeat everything that was said already. And then the soil bit seems like people struggle with answering that. That's quite complex. How do we ensure that the nutrients that we're taking in a way from the soil because of the biomass gets put back? One thing that was not mentioned, but I might add in, which is algae. Can we use algae for nutrients as a fertilizer for the soil rather than the more chemical nutrients fertilizers? And it's interesting that at the end, not many people interested in aquaculture, but obviously you can raise algae inland. So, and this seems to be missing from people's pictures, that they think they see agriculture as seas or lakes, when in fact we can do stuff in you know, artificial tanks, and algae is one of the things that it's so important. So maybe to be discussed next time. So the ranking of things is interesting, is interesting, I suppose, reflecting from the workshop how much emphasis has been given to biodiversity and ecosystems, which is nice to see. But also in terms of you know, commodity prices coming in quite high on that question of adverse impacts the bioeconomy may have on society and environment. So that's quite interesting. And then trade-offs, again, big discussion on trade-offs and the notion of sufficiency. And again, this is like big topic. The Netherlands sustainability rules sound really interesting. So it's such a shame that it's only available in Dutch. So again, in terms of communication, it'd be nice to be translated in other languages. So because it does sound good. And consensus between actors, dialogue, obviously, you know, talking to people, sharing good practice examples, and then in terms of the how to international partners, again, this is interesting detail aspects there in terms of more of official government support that came sort of top on that question, and then in terms of locally embed bioeconomy cluster in terms of more collaboration, local partners. And then finally on the education, it was interesting, the stability and biodiversity coming top again, maybe reflected from the people that joined this workshop, but it's nice to see. And again, sort of agriculture and forestry coming a close second, so to say. So I think I found it very interesting to see the dialogue coming through, and I hope everybody enjoyed it as well.
So thanks a lot, Elsa, for doing our wrap up and for doing it in a second in the plenary as well. And thank you everybody for joining our breakout group. And I just shared the links of the Powerful Bio and the BREAKOUT websites in the chat. And yeah, please feel free to look at our websites and to go on following our projects. And yeah, I think as Laura already mentioned, there are a lot of interesting things to come in both projects. For example, the BSAT in Powerful Bio and a lot of other things in BRURAL. And yeah, so thank you also for all the colleagues being highly motivated organizing this breakout group. And yeah, so thanks a lot. And yeah, so let's go back to the main room. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks.